In order, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
The Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So the first thing we need to do tonight is open up the public comment period on the budget. So we're opening that and we'll leave it open until 7 o'clock unless we have a lot of comments and we need to go past that. So we're here till 7 regardless. So do we have any public comments this evening? I see a lot of administrators. That's about it. Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and move on with the agenda. So we do have a revised agenda in front of it. We've added 5D to the consent agenda. And that should be the only change.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the revised agenda as presented.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Right, hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes, so we'll move on. Certified and classified representative, Steve. You can get as long-winded as you want tonight, Steve.
I wonder how many of them he's gonna eat before we.
As I cook snack, I had a little glass of milk, that'd be nice.
If you give a Steve a cookie.
Yeah. Hey, I want to, I think I first want to say congratulations, you guys, on getting through this year. You know, you could set up a script, you could write down things and, you know, it would change. I go in with the plan until they get punched in the mouth and then the plan changes. And a lot of things have happened this year and gone through, but I do think it's really important that you understand the work that our high school administration did and Terry did when we had serious situations. First kid with the gun came in and then last swatting, but you just have to respond. And the timing of it and what was going on, I think our people did great. I know I was coming into the school, Luke was there, you know, directing people, and there was a plan. And I'm pretty proud of you. We handle those situations good. It's when you lose your craft, that's when you got to think and find anything, you know. And when you panic, you lose your ability to think. So, you know, hats off to high school and junior high, what they did, because everybody, you know, by the time the room was done, they're running through the school. They're holding people hostage and everything else, but it was a pretty good job by junior high school. You know, we finished up, we come to the end, people are moving through, we just had our graduation. It was a pretty incredible thing to know that our Sweet Home Alumni Foundation did $105,000. So this group has earned just under $2 million in scholarships. So it's a really great thing, but you know, you guys came to graduation. We do something at that and I put out an email to our staff that, you know, tell me things you like, tell me things better. You know, you hear these stories of 2.5 to 3 hour graduations that nothing's happened. There's people going around, and ours is that you know, everybody come together. I say I run graduation, but yeah, I tell this person to do this and this person to do this. And everybody does that, and I get pat on that. There's a couple ideas we're already putting for next year. If they work out, you're going to be a genius. They're not my ideas. If they go bad, there's trouble. You know, it was a pretty cool celebration, and it makes me grateful to be a part of what we're doing here at our school. You guys we had a lot of early grads. I don't know, how many early grads? 25. So 25 early grads. My guess is if they weren't allowed to go through early, they wouldn't be 25 grads. They wouldn't get it. And it would be hell on some of the school personnel, even some of them. You know, it isn't, let's get them out. No, it's let's meet them where they're at. Let's get them to a place. And whether they like it or not, mommies and daddies or whoever, you know, don't like what we're doing. They're leaving with the phone. And which some they'll have the rest of their life. And so some of those kids, you know, they had some quite struggles in life, but to come in and have Heidi Thorstad in there, all right, let's find a way. And it's been a pretty cool thing how we meet kids where they're at. And, you know, 9 valedictorians. I'm gonna have it on next year. I believe next year we begin to weight it. Next year it's a weighted grades. So there will be a valedictorian and a salute. It will be based off of weighted grades, which I think Nate questioned that in there too. Yeah, Nate ushered that in, and it's pretty cool because I've seen that. Marty and Jane used to put me in charge of their sons. What it's called shit, and a lot of the people that are finding accumulative GPAs, and so but no, it's we've had a good year, you know. I know you guys with the classified, right? Well done on that, and I'm looking forward to it. I can't believe for me, if I didn't, if previous still doing this and absolutely loving my job, my coaching. If I high school admin staff, Dan Howard, Larry Johnson of today's time. I mean, and I'm getting the support, and I see that with our young teachers, how we're adding them in and doing great things and still having an expectation to them. So, but you know, I'm excited to be back next year. And I know we're going to get a few new ones, but I just asked this board to keep supporting people. You know, I don't see a bunch of I don't see you guys targeting people. I love it because I've known in the past there's been people years ago that got on to Target, and you guys are here because Floyd had extra time, right? He just had free time. I just had free time. This will be fun, he says. So, but no, you guys
bowling, Steve.
yeah,
Not very good at bowling.
yeah, no. So, but I appreciate this board serving, and Jason, is this your last meeting?
Yep.
You gonna leave your shoes at the door or anything? What are you gonna do?
Leave them on the desk.
No, I appreciate what you've done for a lot of years. So do you guys have any questions to me about, I'd love if you had any questions about what we're doing or plans or anything like that, because I can help you out with that. But if you got anything.
You mentioned the name, someone, Dale, I think you said, supported you. Said thanks for the support of, you mentioned the name and I didn't catch it. Did anybody else?
No.
Dan.
Oh, Dan Tao?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's our athletic director. Dan,
Okay.
Dan's been here longer than anybody. He's finishing his 35th year. And it's all been at Sweet Home. And this was his first job. In fact, Dan was the first person Heather and I told that we were having Taylor, you know. So he's been here a long time, one of my best friends. So he's done a great job, and he was an incredible math teacher. And he's a very good athletic director. So, and that was you guys, Friday night was a good night. I'll just tell you that it was a good night. So, got anything?
Congratulations again on your award.
Yeah, that was cool. I've got to do a lot of cool things over the years, but I think that's probably one of my, I said it there, it's one of my most cherished because it comes off of a lot of what I've done here. You know, yeah, it was pretty honored to get that. That was pretty cool. I looked at that list and, well, I remember. I remember in high school when they were given it award, and they used to give it to mainly the people that were graduating the seniors. It's who college, and then they started going to alumni. No, thanks, boy, I appreciate that, that was.
Well, Steve, I didn't get to see you Friday night. I had to go to my granddaughter's graduation,
Yeah,
but I thought about it anyway.
yeah,
The whole time I was there looking at my watch, I'm thinking,
well, it went like it, I love it when a plan comes together, you guys need practice. We go and practice the walkthrough and practice how this is gonna happen, and everybody has the same, okay, this guy does this other one moves over here. So the transition can be smooth because, you know, that's probably one of our biggest sales skeptics right there, that's like the commercial. And if people come there and see, a trash setup and, unorganized, like it's a second-hand thought, that's not selling this community in this school very well. So, you know, you put them there and you have music from Mills. I don't know if you watched the YouTube, it's awesome and people could live stream and watch it and, you know, it just make for pretty cool. I think we saw it pretty well. So, man, the teachers coming in their robes, I told them they didn't have to wear and keep them on because of the heat this time, but coming in the robes, forming a gauntlet, kids that go by, and there's some of my best friends that work at other schools. They don't go to graduation. You know, they just don't go. Our people go. I love it.
Or they don't have the grad party yet. Yeah.
Yeah, the safe party, you guys, hats off to them because here's what they did. There was almost 30 kids that just didn't go. They, you know, yeah, they didn't go. The amount of time and being involved in it for years. And even this is the first year I haven't done some of the fundraising, but the Facebook Live thing, but they raised tens of thousands of dollars. Every kid walked out of there with money. And Dexter said, there's 30 kids didn't pick up their tickets or not. I said, you take that money and give it out. Well, they took that money, each kid was gonna get $150. So they took, you know, 20-some tickets, 20-some. We had 10 golden tickets, it's got some $300, $400, $500. That's a pretty good deal. That's a great night. And I heard a few of them left early. You know, well, guess they found out. You know, so, you know, we found out. All right, guys, thank you very much. And I hope you guys don't have to stay here too long. Jason, thank you again, Jason. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate you too. Just real quick. I especially want to say thank you just because of how you represent Sweet Home. So one of my coworkers, his boys go to Thurston High School and they wrestle. And he and I were talking about something and he brought you up. And he said how much you had helped his boys out in the wrestling program. And one of them's going to Grand Canyon University on a wrestling scholarship this year. And, you know, they attribute a lot of that back to you and your help. Mike, my coworker, said, Steve didn't know me from anybody, but I called up, I had something that was going on. I called up and he jumped in and he helped get it resolved. And, well, but you reflect well on Sweet Home.
Well,
So
my
thanks
dad's
for
still
sharing.
alive and on, so they found out I wasn't. You'll have to hear it. Right. Thank you. I
Thanks,
appreciate
Steve.
it.
All right, I don't see Velma out there and we don't have a student report tonight. So Terry, I'll turn it over to you.
yeah, just picking up where Steve left off. Graduation, appreciate all the board members that were there, the staff. Had 163 students that graduated. And so that was pretty cool. Good size group for us. It was warm, but it was a good event. So again, I appreciate that. We have tokens of our appreciation there. Sarah Hoffman was on the board for 4 years. Jim, you're on the board for 8. And then Jason for 20. And so seems like it'd be better to give it later. But it's where we.
Nah, this way he'll have time to give the speech before the budget stuff starts. And
Lisa Light here. Our school board chairman, Jason Reddick, with grateful recognition, 20 years of service to the students and parents of Sweet Home School District. Your leadership, commitment, and vision have made a lasting impact. So, thank you. Thank you.
Not gonna tear up.
Jason will miss you. You've offered wise counsel to me, and I certainly appreciate that. Still a little sore that so many of our long-term folks are going off, but yet I understand with the amount of time that you put in, that's really appreciated. So thank you. One more. Lisa Latham is here, and this is also her final board meeting. And Lisa stepped in at a time when we sorely needed her. And she has just done absolute aces out at Foster for us. So Lisa, thank you very much. We appreciate you. As far as the enrollment, we are 1 off from last month, which only being down 1 is a good thing, but yet understand, unlike the Price is Right, where we have the mountain climber going up, we've been having the mountain climber on the opposite side doing the descent. We are still down a lot of students. And so we continue to do things. I've asked the administrators. We have asked our building principals to help us continue to market the good things going on in Sweet Home. Jim, I think it was last month, you were talking to your peers. Hearing, I wish we had music, I don't know, music was that on there? Wasn't what? You said woods, and you told them, we don't have woods. Wish we had metals. We do have metals. Something we're gonna have to continue to do is really focus on continuing to market the things that we do have. Because if people are sitting out reading Facebook, they'll hear all kinds of negative stuff about everywhere. But folks that take the time to get involved and see what is really happening, there's a real divergence in the school story right now, in that parents are not very appreciative of what's happening in our schools. But yet you talk with students, what's going on, students feel safe, they feel valued, they appreciate their teachers and the opportunities that they do have in school. And so we're gonna have to work on that, all of us, because there's a tremendous amount of good things to be proud of here in Sweet Home. And if we let social media tell the story, it's going to be a really negative story. So that was the enrollment. And our strategic plan, we now have that approved. And so this part 1 through 4 is under construction, probably will be July as well. And then come August, we'll come back with goals for the school year for board review. And remember that next month is a really big meeting for us. I was hoping that some of the folks that are joining us would be here in person, but perhaps they're online watching. Next month, as you'll recall, we go through a lot of the vendors for the school district. And there are a lot of folks that we work with. So that's the Hungerford Law Firm for legal issues. She's a gold standard in education law, has been so for 50 years in Oregon. Cisco, Glass Architects, just et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of vendors that we have that we'll be asking the school for approval on. And so that seems to be a really big meeting. And it's also when we have new board members come on. And so, as you may recall, it's a, as I said, it's drinking from the fire hose. That's a lot of information coming at you right away. So that will be next month. We do the final thing. We do have the board training on Monday, June 23rd from 3 to 6. So that'll be a valuable time. If you mark that on your calendar to try and attend, that'd be really helpful. So with that, that completes my report. Unless there are questions.
We're making sure we invite all the new people to the 2030 training.
Yes. They've been invited to that training and they were invited to today. Like I said, it's really warm. Watching this online. Ollie, and then
And that's anywhere between tomorrow and the 16th, correct? That should come. Any questions for Terry? Thanks, Terry. We have the consent agenda now. Approve the minutes from the May 12, 2025 school board meeting. Approve the hire of Kayla Lopez, social studies at the high school for the 2025-26 school year. Approve the hire of Jesse Nelson, science at the junior high school for the 2025-26 school year. And approve the hire of Thomas Love, art teacher at the high school for the 25-26 school year.
so moved.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Extra time here. All right, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Right, motion passes. Kevin,
Sure.
budget information.
Budget update, item 6A in the board packet. We've now completed 11 of the 12 months in our fiscal year. As you can see in the report, we do have some individual line items where we have spent over budget, but in total, we're on track to be well under the total amount that was budgeted. So we're in good shape on the expenditure side. Keep in mind, though, that June is the month where we see the majority of our, or a large portion of our expenditures. And that's primarily because for our teachers, they receive 3 months of pay this month. They'll receive pay for the month of June, for the month of July, and for the month of August. We've been essentially deferring an amount so they get equal paychecks during the summer. So in June, we have a lot of money going out the door.
It's still good to go.
We're still good to go. Yeah, just right now, the key thing, and Terry mentioned it earlier, and this is more on the revenue side, really enrollment equals revenue for us. And so lots of good things happening in the Sweet Home School District, and hopefully we can encourage parents to choose Sweet Home.
Questions for Kevin?
When do we get our final payment for biennium?
Could you please repeat that?
When do we get our final payment from state for biennium? Is that what happened?
We will receive the final payment for this fiscal year in May of 2026. That will be the reconciling payment. And so typically if someone wants to know really where we end for, everything's an estimate up until we get that final reconciliation payment that will be almost a year out. With that said, we have a pretty good idea of where we stand right now, and we typically do. And a lot of that is tied just to, our enrollment relative to other enrollments in the state.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Hey,
I have a question.
Yes,
I see that the next item is the action item where we're going to close here.
yes.
And I just want to make sure, because then we have 12 comments.
Yep.
I want to make sure we're getting plenty of time to say thank you to you and to Jim and to Sarah before everybody leaves. And I know we've got cupcakes. So will you all be coming back right after the board be closed?
Well, no, this is,
it's over.
It's not.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's open.
It's an open set.
Yep.
Forgot what I said. Close, and that was all.
Okay.
Before we get off budgets, I did go, I had to be at the LBL budget meeting, which we finally got through. A lot of changes with the LBL because of
State.
the way budgets are coming to them. They're not sure of what's going to be there or what has been there or different things. So they're actually going after some of the things that they're able to hit, which is stuff that they'll do for the schools and back charge for that. So the way they're doing things is a little bit different. They're growing because of that, but they're really, it's pretty much status quo in the trenches. And just want everybody to know that they're not getting hurt real bad yet. It won't be until next year that they really find out how bad they're getting hit. So some of the services,
And that's the ESC.
yeah,
Is
yes,
the Army Note is going to take your spot on the SB?
what's that?
Had they already signed for next year? Somebody for.
Oh, for my spot? No,
Don't volunteer, you know?
well, Dale's been there.
I've been on it before, so it's like.
Dale's been there before.
Yeah.
It does take quite a bit of time to delve into the books. It's not just a one and done type thing. So he knows what he's getting into.
They tried to hire Kevin, but they didn't get him, so.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, we are at almost 7 o'clock, so I will ask once again if there's any comments regarding the budget before we make the approval. All right, here done, I will go ahead and close the public hearing on the budget. And we will move on to our action items.
Mr. Chair. I would move that we adopt the 2025-2026 budget with no changes, including 937,000 dollars for general obligation bond debt service and maintaining a permanent tax rate of 5.0057 per 1,000 of assessed value and a local option tax rate of 0.30 per 1,000 of assessed value.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Where did you get that? Right before that or?
No.
Didn't come with-
It did,
It has to be read exactly
Oh,
in this
thank
form.
you. Okay,
But the 30 cents is for, of course, the
The operation.
operation of the pool. And the 5.0057 per thousand is the general or permanent tax rate for us.
So just to clarify. When we're looking at the page where it shows we got the general fund is 38 million, blah, 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 and add up, special revenue funds and yada, yada. So compare apples and apples. If we're looking at last year's budget. It shows 34 million and some. That's just the general fund budget?
Okay, so if you're comparing, yeah, last year, the 34 million that shows on here does not include the contingency or the ending fund balance on the, what's, I believe, 6A in the board packet for this year. When you look at the resolution, it does include the operating contingency, which is budgeted to be 3.356 million. And so that's the reason the noticeable change from year to year. That's money that we plan not to spend and to have to carry over into the 2026-2027 fiscal year.
But the two numbers we're comparing, so if, I mean, as a dumb guy, I like it doesn't go, well, last year's budget was 34 million. This year they want 68 million.
Oh, okay,
So-
one is just the general fund, the 30-some million amount is the general fund. The other one is the special revenue funds, debt service funds, everything. And keep in mind with that, people talk about that dollar amount. That amount includes anytime we transfer money from one fund to another, money gets counted again there. That includes money that we have set aside for savings for future years. That includes like our long-term maintenance fund, money that we have set aside for future increases in PERS rates. And so by no means is that a number that represents what we plan to spend.
So like I said, if we're talking apples and apples, that 30-some million general fund number is pretty close. So if you talk about the contingency stuff, we're basically, our budget hasn't changed
Yeah,
much since last year's, but is the point I'm trying to get at. It doesn't, I mean, it looks like it's double, but
no, if you're saying what you're doing, then is you're comparing one fund with the 4 million to all of our funds. And so, yeah, you are comparing it apples to oranges.
right.
And
By doing that.
one, it has the outstanding funds for carrying over in it, and one doesn't.
Well, all of our funds, well, not all, most of our funds have money that's carried both in our special revenue funds, which includes our long-term maintenance fund. That has money that's going to be carried over into the future. The general fund, that's our contingency is essentially our shock absorber. That has money that's carried over. In debt service, we have some funds that are carried over.
Yeah, it's just not counted in one pot, but it's counted in the overall.
Mhm.
That's why
Yeah, I would say in a nutshell, right now, we will right now be receiving more money from the state next year per student than we are receiving this year, but we're anticipating less due to having fewer students. And also on the expenditure side, our PERS rates are going to be increasing. The legislature made a slight adjustment, so they won't be going up as much as originally anticipated. It's still a substantial increase for us.
That's basically, if we didn't get anything in, that's what carries us for.
Oh, yeah, we have right now for, on the general fund side, enough where we could probably get by for about a month.
Okay,
So,
okay, well, I like things in a nutshell. I really like it when you put it, when you use that phrase, it makes me, I'm not that smart, so it helps. So thank you for
Yep.
and making it, so we're talking apples and apples.
And I
Makes
guess
sense.
the permanent tax rate hasn't changed from last.
correct, that's the same, that's set back when Oregon did all of its property tax limitation measures. That's what Sweet Home's calculated out to be.
And the pool tax rate hasn't changed from last year either.
Correct. That's what the voters approved. Yep.
No, I knew the answer to the question.
I heard it
I
once
just
said,
wanted it on the record.
I heard it once said that a good attorney only asks questions that he or she already knows the answer to.
But without this motion, we can't actually levy the taxes. That's why we have to make this motion to levy the tax.
You don't have that memorized.
No, no, it has to be. It's spelled out for me.
All right, any other
Legalese.
discussion? All right, hearing no other discussion, I won't repeat the motion. But the motion is to approve the budget and levy the two different tax rates. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Yes, it was Dale. Yes.
Is anybody?
No. All right, board comments. We have any board comments tonight?
I did a little quick math, and we had 165 students graduate. Right? Is that what you said? 163. Okay, so, and Steve said that $2 million in scholarships. I don't have my calculator on me, but just doing some quick math in my head, we're talking like $12,000, right, per student. And a lot of those didn't go to college, so that's a huge amount of scholarships.
It's actually, it's even more than that because it was only like, I'd say 35 students.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but I mean, if you for the whole student body, and then they bring it down to the ones that actually,
And that's
Very good.
just from here.
yeah.
There's a few that got full rides of, one young man got, from a school in Fordham. Yeah, it's 224,000 for 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, they
So anyway, my
really
point was-
well.
We're a little town, and we do pretty good.
Well, and a lot of that can be traced back to Kristen Adams and how hard she works to get these kids to apply for scholarships, to push that direction. She's a definite asset for this district, and it shows in that. Because a lot of these kids get there and they don't have any clue how to go about applying for scholarships or what to do. And she really kind of brings them in and says, apply, do this, and gets them through that. So.
Anyway, the numbers were pretty impressive to me.
Yeah, they were.
For sure.
Just want to thank you so much. I mean, and the other busters, and you've just been such a great support. Just about it. I mean, 20 years, that's really just something that's, you don't see that. So thank you very much. Same thing to you, Jim. I know you've only been in the past year for 8, but I think your whole life is dedicated to service. And that's how. Done. And I think we'll move hard. With something that hopefully we have helped me with. With you, Robert. Yeah. You help me. As though we're confounded. We're gonna be that as something. And that's. President said, never you have something you're not doing. And that just shows that whatever we're doing here in this district, preparing the administrators and kids themselves. They go to the schools and, the police. Or their- So that was hard to know and, really just all that. And how would they do?
Some of them there that they said it was less than 2 minutes. Yeah. To get it off of the field of the pictures, how the pictures. So it's how.
Thank you.
So in the fire service, you call that exercise. And you exercise things so that they're smooth and workable. And I think that's what we do is try and run through those scenarios and exercise ourselves to where we know what every little thing, well, not every little thing, but everything that we can think of.
Any contingency.
Julie, thank you for sending out the memo from the superintendent from South Unclaw. Down that way. So, yeah, it's nice. We know what we can do. But it's nice to see that others take part in that. Yeah. Recognize it. You have more comments? I want to say thanks, Jason, for roping me into this back in 2008.
Well, I will say thank you to absolutely everybody that I've served on this board with. It's been contentious at times, but when it all comes down to it, I think that this board has a good history of doing what's right for the kids. And, you know, that's, if I can encourage anything, just encourage to maintain that mindset. Just always be focused on what is the best for the students. Because everybody comes and wants to push whatever it is that they're feeling strongly about. But the ones that have the most to lose with every decision we make is those kids. So that has to be the primary focus of all that. So, and this will probably get out there somehow, but thank you to the community for allowing me to serve. Because this is, you know, directly related to the community supporting me in that. And so 20 years is a long time. You don't do something for 20 years without being very tied to it. It's going to be a little bit of an adjustment, not coming to board meetings, but at the same time, it's time for somebody else to spend some time doing it. So I might come out there and heckle you from the outside, you know.
Get one for your name on
Fill out a public comment form every single time.
I started off in 1992 going to city council meetings and went 24 years there, and it was really hard to change from Tuesday nights every other Tuesday to Mondays, the second Monday. Now I don't know, it's kind of ingrained in me again how to get out of that you know, every second Monday. So but I'm glad that everybody has helped out as they have and helped us move forward and make the decisions as a board that we have. We have to make sure that we take kudos where we have, and make sure that, you know, our keeping Terry on the forefront straight where he needs to be going and making those decisions is important to us, because we can condone them, we can help him get the resources and those sort of things, but we have to be careful about how we pinpoint where he's going, and he's doing a good job of staying where we want him to be. And you know, the time we've shared here
on this board, letting the community know. And I think that one of the things Terry alluded to was other places that I've talked to and other folks on my class reunion groups and this and that, they say, oh, you need to get these things back in your school. And we have those back in our school. Other places may not, but we do. Other places may not put an emphasis on things we do out in the community. But we do. They may not put an emphasis on being a good student, but we do. And so sometimes grades don't read into everything. If your students graduated and are able to get a job and go to college and do the things that they're asked to do, a lot of the other schools are not prepared to do those things that they're going to be asked to do. And ours, I think, are being better prepared to be out there in the world. And I thank everybody for that.
Any more comments?
I'll just say thank you, Jen, and Sarah, and David. So with you. Learn a lot from you, and you're welcome when we have an open seat to throw your name in. But I do kind of follow up on what you said. I'm very thankful to the public for letting me serve. Well,
We serve because they allow us to when it comes down to it. So
Now you've been paroled. You're done serving.
what's that?
You've been paroled. You're done. No more time served.
We'll call it retirement. All right, we don't have any late items tonight. So future agenda items, work session here. New board members, if you guys are out there listening to this, I do encourage you to come and be involved in that. You won't be seated on the board yet, but that's very valuable training that'll help get you up to speed for the first meeting and kind of get your feet under you before you come in here and don't know where you're at with a meeting and how they work. So next board officers meeting is Monday, July 7th in the superintendent's office, and that'll be Mary and Mike, because I will no longer be on the board at that point. So next board meeting is Monday, July 14th at 6:30 here in the boardroom. And just a reminder, there's a summer board conference with OSBA August 8th through the 10th at the Salem Convention Center. If you're interested in that, talk to Julie. There is a budget in place to allow board members to take in these conferences and things like that. They're very informational, very good learning experiences. So talk to Julie about that and get signed up and
I want to tag on to that. I would suggest going to this one over the one in November, at least for one time.
First time. This, BNC last section.
Let's get all on the same page.
for the legal side.
Yeah.
All right.
So do we need to show up for the next meeting so we have a forum? Or not?
It's just a training. So
It's just training.
no official action.
No
So-
official action.
You're off the hook.